72 hours. 72 hours.
What did you just say?
That's exactly how long Zion lasted last time.
What do you mean and who are you?
Me? Nobody. Just a spectator enjoying the ride. 72 hours.
Welcome to the bottom of the rabbit hole, the one-stop shop for reliable Matrix information. Salute to everyone who's tuning in. You are always appreciated. This video is going to fully explain the Trainman and Mobil Avenue. The Matrixologists already know. We will be using all of the available Matrix media resources. So if this is your first time down here, or you want to know every little detail about the Matrix universe, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you do not miss out on any future updates. Quick shout out to Vesuvius and Starshore from the Matrix Online podcast for sharing so much valuable Trainman canon with me so that I can share it with all of you. For this video, I'm going to try my best to address this subject in chronological order, which was why I opened up with the cutscene from the Enter the Matrix video game, because that was actually the first time we see the Trainman's character in the Matrix universe. We see him taunting Niobe in a subway station about the approaching machine attack on the city of Zion in the real world. As far as the timeline goes, this subway scene takes place just before the opening meeting in the Matrix Reloaded, where Niobe informs other captains about the incoming machine army. The Trainman's character is played by actor Bruce Spence, who has had previous cameos in films like Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, Dark City, Queen of the Damned, The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, and he can even be seen in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Quite the resume. We do not see him appear in a Matrix Trilogy movie until Revolutions. In the beginning, Neo wakes up in the Mobil Ave train station. Mobil is an anagram for limbo. The word limbo comes from the Latin root limbus, which means edge or boundary. To be in limbo means to be in a forgotten or ignored place or state. When Neo tells the Machine City program Ramachandra that he doesn't know where he is, Ramachandra replies that the train station is nowhere. He says, quote, "It is between your world and our world." Neo then asks who the Trainman is, and Ramachandra says, quote, "He works for the Frenchman. I know that if you want to take something from our world into your world that does not belong there, you must go to the Frenchman." Ramachandra then goes on to explain his business with the Merovingian, that as a program, he and his wife created their daughter. Since Sati does not have an assigned purpose within the Machine City, he made arrangements for his daughter to stay with the Oracle inside of the Matrix. If you want to sneak a program in or out of the Matrix, you have to get permission from the Merovingian, because the Trainman is loyal to him. Meanwhile, the Oracle instructs Seraph to help Morpheus and Trinity locate the Trainman to release Neo from Mobil Ave. When they approach the Trainman, he is found sleeping in a public subway car and immediately recognizes Seraph, saying, quote, "Get the hell away from me." He then pulls out his signature weapon, the Colt Detective Special, which is a 6-shot, carbon steel framed, 2-inch barreled, double action revolver, and the first example of a class of firearms known as snub-nose revolvers. Now, on a side note, this is the same modeled revolver used by Detective Ash in the Animatrix episode titled A Detective Story. He is hired to find Trinity, and this story takes place before the original Matrix movie on the timeline. At the end of the episode, Ash is shot and killed on a train. Does the Trainman own the exact same revolver that was once used by Detective Ash? I cannot say for sure. Only the Oracle knows such things. What I will say is that when the Trainman fires his revolver in the subway station, he fires more than 6 shots without reloading. My interpretation is that this is supposed to be a hack ability that he can use inside the train stations. Either way, it wouldn't be the first action sequence in a movie where a gun fired more rounds than it can hold without a reload. Back to being chased by Seraph, Morpheus, and Trinity. The Trainman checks his wrist full of watches in order to perfectly time his escape, jumping across a platform in front of a moving train so that the heroes cannot follow him. What is interesting to notice here is that the train sign says loop. I went back and checked, and the train that ran over Smith in the original Matrix film also has a lit loop sign. As a result of being chased, the Trainman arrives at Mobil Ave behind schedule. The Trainman quickly realizes that Neo's presence there is the reason why Seraph requested his help. Neo then claims that one way or another, he's getting on the train, and the Trainman says, quote, "You're gonna stay here until the Merovingian says different." When Neo threatens to use violence, the Trainman says, quote, "You don't get it. I built this place. Down here, I make the rules. Down here, I make the threats. Down here, I'm God." He then punches Neo into the wall. This shows us that the Trainman not only built the construct, but is even more powerful than Neo in this place that he created between the Matrix and the real world. Seraph knows the Trainman follows the orders of the Merovingian, so he brings Morpheus and Trinity to fight their way into Club Hell so that they can request permission for Neo to be released from Mobil Ave. When they reach the Merovingian, the Trainman is already there. The Merovingian asks Morpheus and Trinity if they know how Neo got inside the train station, which tells us that the Trainman himself doesn't even know how Neo got there. The Merovingian says that he'll release Neo in exchange for the eyes of the Oracle. Trinity knows that she cannot deliver this request. Instead, Trinity begins to fight, catches a gun falling from the air, and threatens to kill the Merovingian in a Mexican standoff, which, if you notice, the Trainman has his gun pointed at Seraph. Most likely because he knows that Seraph is the most powerful program there. He also recognized Seraph immediately, and this suggests that the Trainman is from an older version of the Matrix. The Merovingian accepts the terms in exchange for his own life, and honors the deal by having the Trainman take Trinity to release Neo. Just before the train arrives, Neo says, quote, "Okay, you got yourself into this, you can get yourself out." He then visualizes Machine City power lines, and when he opens his eyes, a train is approaching. However, this time, the train sign is off and does not display the word loop. I believe this is because the train was unscheduled and not connected to the Trainman's watch synchronization. So we just covered how Neo got out, but one common question is, how did he get there in the first place? Let's take another look at the dialogue. When Neo gets out of Mobil Ave, he immediately requests to consult with the Oracle, and when he meets with her, he says, quote, "Tell me how I separated my mind from my body without jacking in. Tell me how I stopped Force Sentinels by thinking it. Tell me just what the hell is happening to me." End quote. So right there, Neo tells us that he separated his mind from his body, and he also says that he did this without being jacked into the Matrix. It is important to understand that this has to mean the transmission was wireless. The Oracle replies, quote, "The power of the One extends beyond this world. It reaches from here all the way back to where it came from, the source. That's what you felt when you touched those Sentinels, but you weren't ready for it. You should be dead, but apparently you weren't ready for that either." What is interesting to notice here is that not only did the Oracle know that Neo was trapped in Mobil Ave to begin with, but she is also aware that the event should have killed Neo in the real world. In Catholic theology, limbo is a viewpoint concerning the afterlife condition of those who die without being assigned to hell, but also not yet allowed into heaven. In Neo's case, the previous versions of the anomaly all chose to return to the source. Smith tells us in The Matrix Reloaded that the source is known to programs as their digital afterlife. Yet Neo rejects that invitation to save Trinity inside the Matrix and then leaves the Matrix, returning to the real world. At the same time, the meeting with the architect has made him aware that he is hybrid. So when Neo says he can feel the Sentinels, what he is feeling is the connection to the machine's wireless network. Access to the Mobil Avenue construct exists within cyberspace as an edge or boundary between the Machine City and the Matrix. Upon tapping into that wireless network for the first time, Neo's consciousness literally gets lost in cyberspace, finding its way into the Mobil Ave construct. Ramachandra told Neo that the only way to smuggle programs that do not belong inside the Matrix is through the Trainman. In this way, Mobil Ave is used as a digital underground railroad system for exile programs. In the Matrix Online, we are given a few other examples. We find out that the Merovingian smuggled in the assassin who killed Morpheus. The Trainman tells us that this was supposed to be his last job for the Merovingian. After bringing the assassin into the Matrix, the Trainman retired to his private construct. But later, the Merv calls upon the Trainman service again to bring in a machine mainframe program that is a master of mortal code in an attempt to kill the Oracle. The Merovingian's final mission for the Trainman is to hide the commandos in the machine mainframe and sneak the general himself outside of the Matrix. The Trainman does get the general out of the Matrix successfully, but is wounded by machine operatives in the process. And the very last time we see the Trainman in the Matrix Online, he escaped to the white hallways and then into his construct still wounded. His run in MXO ended on a bit of a cliffhanger at the end of Chapter 7, and in Rarebit's mission review notes, he was supposed to return in Chapter 13. Unfortunately, the game went offline with Chapter 12, so we did not get to see the Trainman return. However, during his final mission with the General, we are shown how the Trainman system works. The Trainman's network is controlled by hacked switch hubs in the vicinity of certain train stations. When referring to a network, a hub is the most basic networking device that connects multiple computers or other network devices together. Unlike a network switch or router, a network hub has no routing tables or intelligence on where to send information and broadcast all network data across each connection. In general, a hub refers to a hardware device that enables multiple devices or connections to be connected to a computer. An example is a USB hub, which allows multiple USB devices to be connected to one computer, even though that computer may only have a few USB connections. So the short answer to the mystery behind the Mobil Avenue station is that it's a wireless hub construct for real-world programs to broadcast an underground or pirated connection to the Matrix. If you like these original Matrix Trilogy breakdown videos, help the channel grow by sharing them on Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, or with other Matrix fans you know. And remember, as one realizes that one is a dream figure in another person's dream, that is self-awareness.